Hello, anyone? Please respond. Hello, anyone? Please respond. Hello, anyone? Please respond. Hello, anyone? Please respond. Hello, number 30. Hello. Hello, anyone? Please respond. Hello. Hello. Hello.
హలో సార్
ఓకే ఓకే ఏమన్నా వాయిస్ వినపడుతుందా?
వినపడుతుంది.
ఓకే, అబౌట్ స్క్రీన్.
స్క్రీన్ కూడా
ఓకే మా నెంబర్ 35. థ్యాంక్ యూ.
ఓకే సార్.
Totally 24 members. Sir, now we are in third chapter named as liquid penetrant test. Okay, liquid penetrant test mainly meant for the defects on the surfaces. Open surface defects can be detected by using this liquid penetrant test. This test only meant for the defects, open defects on the surface only. Okay, yesterday I have explained the working principle of liquid penetrant test. Okay, liquid penetrant test is the principle behind the liquid penetrant test is capillary action. Okay, because of capillary action, the colored dye or colored liquid is penetrated into the crack. Okay, we can get identification by using penetrant and developer. Okay, combination of use. Okay, finally we can identify the location of defects, surface defects. Okay, in today's class we will see in brief manner. Okay. Okay, today I start with liquid penetrant system. This is the second topic, liquid penetrant system. I have already explained in previous class. Once again, I will repeat it. Okay, 37 members are joined. So wait for 2 minutes. Meanwhile, if you have any doubts regarding previous unit, previous class, please unmute yourself and ask me. Sir, I am giving 1 minute time. Please, if you have any doubts regarding previous class, please ask me. If you don't have any doubts, I will continue. Please unmute yourself. Okay, no doubts. So I am continuing the class. Thank you. So once again, good morning to all. Okay, today's topic is liquid penetrant system. Liquid penetrant system means what kind of penetrant liquids are used in liquid penetrant test. Okay, what kind of developers are used for getting the identification of defects by using this test. Okay, brief on these concepts is nothing but liquid penetrant system. As I said yesterday, liquid penetrant systems are two types. One is visible liquid penetrant, means the liquid penetrant has some color, maybe in red color. Okay, so visible liquid means we can easily look see those liquids color. Okay, second, fluorescent penetrant. Fluorescent penetrant means, you know, fluorescence is the property when the light fall on those materials. Okay, it illuminates. So there is a fluorescent penetrants also we are using in liquid penetrant test. for better identification of the defects in the object. Okay, now we see each these systems, both visible liquid penetrant systems and fluorescent penetrant systems. Okay, first we see the liquid penetrant, visible liquid penetrant system. Here, these are three types. One is water washable penetrants, and second one is post emulsifiable penetrant. The last one is solvent removable penetrant. These are the three types of penetrants we are using in liquid penetrant test. Okay, water washable penetrants. What is the water washable penetrants? Water washable penetrants means these are the self emulsifying penetrants. Means if you spill water on this penetrant, okay, automatically the reaction takes place and the water can remove the penetrant from the component. Means without adding any other chemicals or other aids, just by pouring the water on the component, just we can remove the penetrant. Such kind of penetrants are called water washable penetrants. And the second one is post emulsifiable penetrants. Post emulsifiable means, okay, here we can remove the penetrant, excess penetrant. We have to remove the excess penetrant from the component. We only need the penetrant inside the cracks or defects only. So we have to remove the excess penetrant. For that purpose, we are using post emulsifiable penetrants. Here we have two steps. In first step, we have to remove the excess penetrant by spilling water on it. Okay, but that we can't remove the total penetrant from the component because these penetrants are not self emulsifying penetrants. So then we have to add the external emulsifiers, okay, separately. We have to add the emulsifier separately. We are spilling the emulsifiers on the surface of the component, then we wash out with water, then the penetrant can be removed from the component. Okay, so in water washable, those are self emulsifier. Emulsifier is nothing but is a chemical reaction. Okay, okay, if this emulsification causes the separation of penetrant from the component. Okay, in water washable penetrants, there are self emulsifier. In post emulsifier penetrants, we have to apply the emulsifier in separate manner. Okay, and third one, solvent removable penetrants. Here we can't remove the penetrant from the component by using water. By just spilling the water on the component, we can't remove the penetrant. Okay, this kind of penetrants, some kind of penetrants are removed by using some solvents. Solvent, you know, solvent means these are solubles. It means some chemicals, these penetrants are soluble in this liquid. Such kind of solvents are used in solvent removal penetrants. Okay, here also we have two steps. In first step, we have taken a cloth, okay, a smooth cloth, and we are swiping the cloth on the workpiece and we are removing the excess penetrant. And in some locations, we can't remove the penetrants by using simply swiping the cloth. In that case, we have to spill the solvent on the paper or cloth, and again we are swiping that cloth on the component, then we can easily remove the penetrants. Yes, such kind of penetrants are called solvent removable penetrants. And the last one, these are the three types of visible liquid penetrant test, and one more have fluorescent penetrant. Okay, here also we have to remove the excess penetrant. Okay, okay, under black light, we are using black light. Under black light, we have to remove the excess penetrant. Okay, suppose if you have not removed in proper manner, the excessive penetrant are not removed, then what happens? It gives the wrong indications. It gives the wrong indication because where the liquid is not removed from the excess liquid is not removed from the component, then that liquid also eliminates. That gives the wrong indication in case of fluorescent penetrants. Okay, here see the diagrams. Here first one is the water washable penetrants. Here we are washing the component with the some water gun. Okay, sir, we have to use the required force. We have specified force only we can use for cleaning of the component. Excess, if you use excess pressure, then automatically that there is a possibility of removal of liquid penetrant from the cracks also. Sometimes the penetrant inside the crack also removed because of high force of injection of water on the component. So we should care while cleaning the excess penetrant, because we have to we are not able to, we are not remove the penetrant inside the cracks, because that is useful for indication of the crack. Okay, if you remove the penetrant inside the discontinuities, that is the useless thing. So proper pressures are maintained to remove the excess penetrant. And second thing, this diagram shows the excess penetrant removal. Okay, next second, this is the post emulsification. Means we have to apply some emulsifier, okay, from externally, then we are washing the component by using the water. Okay, these two are the solvent. Here, this is the solvent liquid. We are spraying that solvent liquid on the cloth. Then the cloth is wiped on the component for removing the excess penetrant. We can't remove this penetrant by simply washing with water. So in this case, we have to use special liquid, that is solvent. This kind of penetrants are called solvent removable penetrants. These are the removing of excess penetrant. This is the this one kind of fluorescent. Okay, light means we are applying light on that. Here you can clearly observe. Here these are the indications of cracks. The liquid inside these cracks illuminated under the backlight. Okay, we have to observe the cracks in a effective manner. Okay. Okay, just a minute. One minute. Hello. Okay. I think now we are audible, my voice. Okay. Sir, this is the fluorescent type penetrant. If you use the fluorescent type penetrant, the penetrant inside the cracks are illuminated under light. Next, developers. Okay, after application of penetrant and after removing of the excess penetrant, we have to apply the developer solutions for indications, for getting indications. Here developers are also classified into 4 types. One is water suspended particles, second one is water soluble particles, and third one is dry particles, and fourth one is non-aqueous wet particles. Okay, here water suspended particles means the developer particles are mixed with the water, but those particles are not solid in water, but the particles are spreading uniformly throughout the water, but continuous stirring is required while applying these kind of water suspended particles type developers. Second one, water soluble particles. Water soluble means these particles are soluble in water like sugar and salt. So there is no need of continuous stirring while applying this kind of developers on the workpiece. And dry particle type developers are these are the powder like particles, means talc and powder is there at our home. We have face powder. Okay, like that developers also in that form. Okay, we are applying that powder, we are spraying that powder on the component, that those powder gives the indication of the color liquid, because they draws the liquid from the cracks, so you can easily identify the defects under the surface, not under the surface, on the surface of the component. Last one is non-aqueous wet particles. Non-aqueous means here, okay, there is no part of water, means there is no water in this kind of developers. Okay, if there is no water is not part of in that solution, then the solution is called non-aqueous solution. So here there is the water is not part of the developer, then it is called non-aqueous. These kind of developers are used for getting the identifications of cracks. Okay. Here, first one, already I told, here the first two types, water soluble and water suspendable developers are, here also we have water washable penetrants and post to emulsifier penetrants. For these two penetrants, we are using these two kinds of developers, because even after drying the item, after applying the penetrant, we are drying the item by swiping the item with some cloth. So even some wetness is there. Still, we don't have any problem because we are applying water-based developer. So even wetness is there on component, even though you can apply this kind of developers. Next, okay, dry particle developers. In this case, we have to dry the component completely without wetness, because we are using for this purpose we are using hot air guns to remove the after removing of penetrant from the component, there is some water on the component that can be dried by using some hot air guns. Okay, so here also we have to maintain some pressure and some hardness, some temperature. If you apply the excess temperature for drying the component, that will dry the liquid inside the discontinuous also. So there is a problem. So we have to maintain some temperature, okay, because our aim is to remove the excess penetrant from the surface, not the liquid inside the discontinuities. We have to maintain the liquid inside the discontinuities. So while drying, also the temperature and the pressure should maintain the proper pressure and temperature according to standards. Okay, in kind of dry non-aqueous developers. The last one is non-aqueous wet developers. Okay, these are the wet type of developers, but the only problem is, the only thing is, there is no water content in the non-aqueous wet developers. So these are very sensitive. Okay, these are very specially used developers. Okay, these are the different types of developers. See this here, this person is applying developer, powder type of developer on the component after dipping into the water. I mean, after washing the excess penetrant from the component, he is applying developer powder on the component by using some gun. Okay, this kind of developer is called dry type developer. Next, test procedure. Next one is test procedure. Okay. Okay, here the liquid penetrant process has essentially consists of the following steps. We have different steps. I have already explained about these steps. And once again, I am repeating. The first step is pre-cleaning the component. First, we have to clean the component in clear manner. Okay. And second point, applying penetrant liquid. Applying penetrant liquid. Okay. Third step, removing of excess penetrant. Removing of excess penetrant. Fourth step, applying developer. Applying the developer. And the next step is examining the component. Examining the component. Okay, after some time. Next one is post-process cleaning. The last step in the test is post-process cleaning. This is also like pre-cleaning. Okay, after completion of test, we have to clean the component. That is the last step. So these are the main steps in the liquid penetrant test. What are that? Pre-cleaning, applying penetrant, removing of excess penetrant, applying developer, examining the component. The last one is post-process cleaning. We have to follow these steps for completing the liquid penetrant test. Okay, see this diagram. Okay, the same steps are showed in a diagram. Okay, this is the flow chart for conducting the liquid penetrant test. What is the first one? Surface preparation, that is the cleaning of surface, penetrant application, excess penetrant removal. We have three methods for excess penetrant removal: water washable, emulsifier, and solvent type. After excess cleaning, we have to apply the developer. Here also developers are two types: wet type and dry type. Okay, then after applying the developer, we got the indications. We have to inspect the indications. Based on the indications from the test, we have to decide either reject or accept the parts. If the parts are rejected, just throw those parts into the dustbin or scrap. And if you accept that parts, we have to clean it. Post cleaning is there. We have to clean those surfaces, and temporary production is given, and later we are supplying those products to the supplier. These are the this is the flow chart that indicates the procedure of the liquid penetrant test. Okay, sometimes explanation, this kind of flow charts are better to write a paragraphs. Okay, sometimes you will get good marks for this kind of flow charts. Okay, there is a possibility. So maintain this kind, so draw this kind of flow charts in examination for getting more marks. Okay, simply writing of steps in this manner, okay, in step by step, is not efficient than this flow chart. For getting more marks, you can write like this. Okay, next, one by one I will explain. The first step, what is the first step? Surface preparation. Surface preparation means surface cleaning. Okay, the surface contaminated, definitely the component surface contaminated with dirt, grease, oil, rust. Okay, suppose the welding bead is weld flex is there, and acid kind of components are there. We have to remove all these kind of, okay, contaminants. Okay, otherwise you will get bad results from the liquid penetrant test. Okay, for removing of these contaminants from the surface of the component, we have different processes of cleaning. Okay, now we see the different processes for preparation, surface preparation. Those are mechanical cleaning, solvent cleaning, vapor decreasing, degreasing, next detergent cleaning, steam cleaning, and the ultrasonic cleaning. These are the different types of cleanings used for preparation of the surface of the test component for liquid penetrant test. First, what is mechanical cleaning? Okay, here we are clean the dust and some contaminants on the component surface by using wire brush. By using wire brush, because iron wires are the brush is made up of with iron wires. By using that brush, we are removing the, okay, dust and other contaminants on the surface. Okay, and metal scrapping. Suppose if there is hard spots or some hard spots are there, we can remove by using scrapping. Okay, and chemical etching is also carried out. Chemical etching means after completion of brushing by using wire brush, there is a chance, okay, for closing of the discontinuity on the surface, because we are using brushing by using a wire brush. So this wire brush sometimes closes the openings on the surface, because while brushing there is a possibility for the closing of the openings. So we have to etch that. Etching means we are, by using some chemicals, we are etching the surface of the component that causes, is there any closing of the surfaces due to the hard wire brush cleaning. So those are open, because the discontinuities on the surface should be open position. Then only we can identify by using liquid penetrant test. So we have to avoid the closing of the surfaces due to the cleaning of the component. Okay, next we have to, the component is fully dried before proceeding to next step. Next one is solvent cleaning. Here we are using some chemicals, naphtha, mineral spirit, acetone, isopropyl alcohol, or methylene chloride. Such kind of chemicals are used, or flush, okay, away these solvents are removing the oil and grease from the surface. Okay, we can remove the oil and grease on the surface by using solvent cleaning. Okay, by using some solvents we can remove the oil and grease from the surface. Okay, but the solvents do not remove the rust, scale, or flakes or inorganic soils. Okay, we are adopting some more cleaning procedures for removing all these things. Okay, the solvent cleaning is the solvents are toxic nature, so, and flammable, also highly inflammable. So we have to take care while applying the solvents on the components for while cleaning. Next procedure is vapor decreasing. degreasing of vapor. These are used for removing the organic contaminants, means oil and grease are also removed by using vapor degreasing. Okay, not only surface is cleaned this way, but any moisture entrapped in the discontinuities also evaporates by using vapor degreasing process. Okay, sometimes solvents are harmful, so in that case we are using vapor degreasing process for removing of oil and grease and water. Suppose there is a moisture on the surface of the component, we can remove by using vapor degreasing process. Next, detergent cleaning. Next step is detergent cleaning. Okay, we are using detergents, detergents. Okay, detergents are used for washing the clothes. Similarly, here detergent solutions are used for cleaning the acidic and alkaline contaminants on the surface. Okay, all these are also removing the oils and grease from the surface of the component. Okay, after applying the detergents, we are cleaning the component by using water, and we are drying the component by using some blowers. Next, steam cleaning. Next, one more cleaning, we have steam cleaning. Okay, this method is mainly useful for cleaning the large items. Suppose the item is very large. In that case, we can't apply the solvent because it is a costliest process. Then we are using steam for cleaning the inorganic oils and grease on the surfaces. Okay, and one more thing, ultrasonic cleaning. Here, ultrasonic cleaning means ultrasonics are, these are the gives the effectiveness in the cleaning. Okay, here also we are using solvent and detergent bath. Okay, but here by using ultrasonic waves, we can clean the surface of the component by applying the ultrasonic waves on the surface of the component. The last one is acid cleaning. Here, some acids, high concentrated acids are used for cleaning of the surface of the component. Here we have strong acids and mild acids. Strong acid solutions are removing the heavy scaling. If there is a rust on the surface of the or scaling on the surface of the component, we have to remove those things by using strong acids. And mild acid solutions are used for light scaling. Suppose the scaling or rust on the surface, if there is mild, we are using mild acids. Suppose those are heavy, we are using strong acids for removing the such kind of scalings and rust. Okay, these are the different types of scalings used for the this type of different types of cleaning process used for the cleaning of the surfaces, for preparation of the surface, for testing of the liquid penetrant, for applying the liquid penetrant test. Okay, come to the next point, that is the liquid penetrants. Apply once the component is cleaned and dried. Later, second step is application of penetrants. Now we have to apply the penetrant liquids on the component. Penetrant liquids on the component. Here we are applying the penetrant on the components in three ways. One is dipping method. Dipping method means there is a liquid penetrant. Okay, penetrant is there. We are dipping the total component inside the penetrants for applying the penetrants on the components. Suppose we are using heavy parts. In that case, we are following this dipping procedures. Okay, just we are dipping the component inside the, where is the penetrant solution is there, by crane. With the help of crane, we are dipping the component inside the penetrant. And second way is spraying method. Second way is spraying method. Yesterday I have shown a video. In that video, they are applying spraying method. We have a liquid container. By spraying, we are applying the penetrant on the component. And the last one is brushing. Okay, last one is brushing. Means we are applying the penetrant on the component by using some brushes. Okay, we are applying the penetrant on the component with the help of brushes, then it is called brushing method. These are the three methods. By using these, any one of the method, we are applying the penetrant on the surface of the component. Okay, here guidelines for the penetration time. We have to, after penetrant is applied, we have to wait for some time. That is called dwell time. Okay, for preparation of the penetrant, we need to give some time for penetrant. Okay, this time is called dwell time. Here the table gives the dwell time for different applications. Suppose the material testing is aluminum or magnesium alloys. Those are form of castings and forgings. some defects like porosity, cold shut, lapse, and fatigues. How much time for penetration? 15 minutes, okay, to 30 minutes. For stainless steel, it is 30 to 60 minutes. Suppose brass or bronze, 10 to 30 minutes. Here plastics 5 to 30 minutes. Glasses 5 to 30 minutes. Okay, carbide tips tools 10 minutes. These are the dwell times we have to maintain while using the liquid penetrant on these materials. Based on the material, okay, we are giving the dwell time for the liquid penetrants. Next step, third step, that is the removal of excess penetrant. Removal of excess penetrant. I have already explained this removal procedure in previous slide. So once again, I am repeating. Here we have three types of three ways for removing the excess penetrant from the component. Those are water soluble, okay, by rinsing with water, and post emulsification and solvent removing. Simply we are washing the component by using water jet, that is the water washable method. Second one, post emulsification, means we are applying some chemicals on the surface, then we are washing the surface with the help of water, then it is called post emulsification method. The last one is solvents. By applying some chemicals on the cloth, we are swiping out this cloth on the surface of the component for cleaning the excess, for removing the excess penetrant from the component. These are the three methods we are applying for removing of the excess penetrant from the component. Direct washable, we are applying emulsifiers, then washing with the help of water, and third one is solvent removal. Okay, here also emulsifiers are applied in three ways: by dipping or spraying. Next, developer applications. After removing the excess penetrant from the component, we are drying by using some air or hot air. After drying it, we have to apply the developers. These developers function is main for draws the liquid which is entrapped in the discontinuities, and it gives the clear indications for operator where cracks are there, where discontinuities are there. We can identify after applying the developer, because developer gives the identifications. Okay, this is the indication of the discontinuity. We are using developers. Okay, here we have 3 or 4 types of developers. Already I explained: water suspended particles, water soluble particles, dry particles, and non-aqueous wet particles. These 4 things are explained in previous slide. Same thing we can think. Dry particles means powder. Okay, water soluble particles mean particles are soluble in water. Water suspended means these particles are not soluble in water, but continuous stirring is required while applying. Non-aqueous means there is no water in the developer, then it is called non-aqueous wet particles. Okay, these are the different types of developers used in the liquid penetrant test. Next step, after applying the developer, we get indications regarding discontinuities. Then the important process is examination. After examination, we have to interpret the data, that is the interpretation, and after interpretation we have to do the evaluation. So these three things are combinationally done after applying the developer, that is examination, interpretation, and evaluation. Okay, here after applying the developer, after some time we are get indications, penetrant indications. Okay, those are examined under natural light. Okay, we need some proper light for identifying the clear identifications, or artificial light. Artificial lights, under artificial light also we can observe the indications, but we have to proper measure of light is useful for proper examination of the identifications. Here 500 lux, this is the indication for the illumination used for observing the identifications. Okay, next, in case of fluorescent penetrants, okay, we are examining carried out in dark light. Dark enclosure is there. Okay, in dark room we are using ultraviolet rays. We are focusing ultraviolet rays on the component. Then after falling the ultraviolet rays on the fluorescent liquids, okay, those are illuminated. By using those illuminations, we can find the discontinuities. Where the eliminations are there the liquid penetrant is there, that indicates the location of the discontinuities. Here also 70, okay, flux intensity light is used. Okay, next, one more thing, while observing the indications, we are applying 5 minutes or minimum take the 5 minutes after applying the backlight for warm up, because a sudden if you suppose, if you are suppose at home, we are entering into the dark room, after we are switching the light, our eyes are in blur conditions sometimes, few seconds, okay, we can't observe because sudden illumination of light gives some confusion in the eyes. So we have to wait for 5 minutes after letting the light, okay, for proper identifications. Okay, one more thing, the identification of indications requires some practice, some experience. Okay, means for example, cracks, cold shuts, we have forging labs are there. Okay, continuous line indications are the indication for different defects are different. So based on that, we have to observe the in proper manner. Okay. Next, here we have some identification indications. See this table. You can observe this table. What kind of indications we get? Okay. See this. First, cracks. We have two types of penetrant systems: visible penetrant, fluorescent penetrant. Okay, cracks are identified. Okay, in visible penetrant, these thin red lines are depth indicated by degree of spread. Okay, in fluorescent penetration, thin greenish yellow lines are there. If suppose there is greenish yellow lines on the component, that indicates the cracks in fluorescent penetrants. If red lines are there, thin red lines, those are the indication of cracks. Suppose very tight cracks, series of very small red dots are there. Series of very small red dots means there is no continuous line. Dotted line is there. Dotted line means those are very tight crack indication. Here also we get greenish yellow dots in case of fluorescent penetrant. Porosity. In porosity we have series of red dots. Here series of greenish and yellow dots spots are there in fluorescent penetrant. Shrinkage and micro shrinkage. Pale of red blotches are there. Here pale of greenish yellow blotches are there. Okay, these are the indications given for different defects. See this diagram, you can observe. This is the crack identification. This is porosity. This is the tight crack. This is the shrinkage identification. Okay, these are the different indications given by the penetrant test for identification. Okay. Here, while examining, some false indications also create difficulty for interpreting interpretation of defects. Okay, these false indications are due to improper washing due to surface roughness. Suppose the surface, component surface which is under test has rough surface. Okay, in those rough surface, okay, sometimes we can't remove the excess penetrant because of this rough surface. Means some penetrant is accumulated in the surface roughness. Okay, this gives wrong indications. And the second one, penetrant seepage and smearing due to the press fit. Okay, seepage means, okay, suppose the penetrant inside the cracks or discontinuities are sweep out for excess removal of penetrant, that causes penetrant seepage. That is also gives the wrong indication. Next, smearing means sometimes the openings on the surfaces are covered with certain metal layer. Suppose because of itching, so sometimes operation is there, we are applying some finishing operations, the cracks on the surface has smeared, means they are covered by some surface. Okay, because there is a crack, but the crack opening is covered with the metal layer, that is called smearing. Sometimes this also gives the wrong indications. For that purpose, itching is required for removing the layer on the crack. And the last one is geometrical constructions. Geometrical constraints means sometimes you have to test the components. Suppose the threading portion, okay, or fillets. In that case, complex geometry is there. Okay, in that case also sometimes we get wrong indications. These are the three reasons for false indications. Okay, and one more thing, while evaluating the about discontinuities, we have to analyze that, we have to accept or reject that item. So the accepting or rejectance of that item is depending on, we have to consider some factors. First factor is design and contractual requirements. Okay, next one is nature, extent and distribution of defects. Third one is whether subsequent operation will result in the removal of observed defects. Okay, sometimes after manufacturing the component, we are applying some finishing processes on the components. In that finishing processes, some defects are, we can remove the some layer on the component. So in that removal in finishing process, some defects may disappear. Okay, we have to observe that also. If there is a possibility, even we have discontinuities on the surface, if those discontinuities are disappear after finishing process, we can accept such kind of components. Okay, and the design considerations also we have to keep in mind while accepting or rejecting the component, because the application is very, very important. If the defect on the surface of the component are affecting the application of the component, then we are rejecting that. Is there no influence on the application of component by the defects, we can accept it. These are the three things we have to remember while evaluating the defects. Okay, here the defects are broadly classified into two groups. Okay, broadly classified into two groups. One is gross and propagative surface defects. Next one is non-propagative surface defect. Suppose first one is gross and propagative surface defect, like cracks. Means there is a possibility for propagation, means the crack size goes on increases. If we apply the periodic loading on the component, automatically there is a propagation in the cracks. Okay, such kind of defects are cracks, tears, cold shuts, shrinkages, seams and laps. These defects are not acceptable because there is a further propagation after while using these kind of components in the working conditions. There is a possibility for propagation. So these defects are not acceptable for critical components. Okay, critical components means the components which are used at high temperature and high stress areas. Then if such kind of defects are there, gross and propagative surface defects are there, we have to reject such kind of items. And non-propagative and surface defects means porosity, micro shrinkage, sponginess, these are acceptable to some extent. Okay, suppose the defects are not affecting the mechanical properties significantly, means these defects are under probable acceptable limits, then we can accept it. Okay, suppose these defects also beyond the limit, then we reject such kind of components with this type of defects. So based on the defects types and distribution of the defects and the intensity of the defects, we have to take the decision either accepting or rejecting the components. Okay, here to determine the criteria of the acceptance of these defects, one has to consider size, distribution and distance of separation between the two acceptable individual group of the defects. We have to consider all these things: size of the defect, distribution of the defect and the distance between the two defects, separation of the defects. Okay, if those are in limits, acceptable limits, we are accepting, otherwise we are rejecting the component. These are the two types of groups of defects. Based on these defects, we can decide either accepting or rejecting the component. Okay, last step in the liquid penetrant test is post-process cleaning. Post-process cleaning. Now our test is completed. So we have to send that product to the supplier. So before sending to the supplier, we have to apply the post cleaning, because there is a developers or penetrants are there on the component. If you just leave like that, there is a possibility for the rusting. So we have to completely remove the all solvents or chemicals or penetrants or developers applying on the component. This is called post processing. Okay, post cleaning is very, very important. Post cleaning for removing the excess things on the components for avoiding the rust, and also if you give the component for further testing, if you move the component for further testing, we have to remove all those things. So cleaning is, we have to apply the cleaning. So same cleaning procedure which is followed in pre-cleaning, same is applied for post cleaning also. Okay. Next, safety precautions. Next one is safety precautions are taken while conducting the liquid penetrant test. One is adequate ventilation is required. Adequate ventilation is required. Okay, while handling the penetrant developers and cleaners. Next, we have to wear the gloves. Gloves must be worn during the test. Suppose if you conducting using the fluorescent penetrants, okay, we should take, because we are applying the ultraviolet rays, so we have to, for avoiding the exposing of under ultraviolet rays, we have to wear some clothes, special clothes and gloves. Okay, next, manufacturing instructions should follow while using backlight, because sometimes continuous light applying, backlight applying can change the properties of materials. So we should avoid such kinds based on the manufacturer's demand. And sodium glass spectacles are worn while examining the components for saving our eyes from the exposure of the chemicals. Next, while applying pressurized spray cans, suppose if you are using the liquid penetrants are stored in a pressurized cans, okay, we have to take care because we are storing in a safe place. Okay, we have to avoid the exposing of sunlight on this pressurized spray cans, because those are flammable liquids. There is a possibility for fire, so we have to store in a special storage rooms. Okay, because the temperature more than 50 degrees, there is a chance for firing. So storing of pressurized spray cans also very, very important. And the last one, draining of chemicals. After completion of test, we have to drain those chemicals according to health authorities, approved by the health authorities. Just we are simply not drain simply into the water, okay, or channels. Okay, I have to drain in a pits, because those chemicals are harmful. So there is a chance to harmful to the people or animals living around the testing industries. So draining of chemicals also very, very important. These are the safety precautions we have to take while conducting the liquid penetrant test. Okay, this is the last slide. Okay, effectiveness and limitations of liquid penetrant test. Sir, liquid penetrant test is used extensively for locating the, evaluating the discontinuities open to the surface. Okay, for any materials we can use the liquid penetrant test. Okay, and one more thing, easy to test. Even semi-skilled operator can also test by using liquid penetrant test. Okay, and all kind of materials can be tested by using liquid penetrants. These are the uses of the liquid penetrant test. And we are using liquid penetrant test in different industries like nuclear power plants, aerospace industries, shipping industries, railways, chemical, petroleum, food, paper, etc. This kind of industries also using liquid penetrant test for conducting non-destructive test, because this is economical and the cost of testing is very low when compared with radiography and ultrasonics. Okay. And one more thing, sometimes liquid penetrant test is not only find the defects, because it's only find the defects on the surfaces. So some other tests also added to this liquid penetrant with the for further examinations. Means after liquid penetrant test, so we are conducting the radiography and ultrasonics also. Here, see the applications of liquid penetrant test. All non-ferrous, ferrous, non-ferrous materials like castings, weldments, forgings, assembly structures, machined, anodized, corroded, finished products, all kinds of products can be tested under liquid penetrant test. Effective detection, open surface defects like cracks, porosity, folds, okay, laps, seams, corrosion, and grinding cracks. All these can be find by using this liquid penetrant test. And the limit of detection for laboratory level 0.25 mm defects can be identified, production level 1, and service level fatty cracks up to 1 mm size we can find by using this test. These are the applications of the liquid penetrant test. This is about liquid penetrant test. If you have any doubts, please raise your doubts. Otherwise, I will close the session. So this is about third unit. This is about third unit. Please raise your doubts if you have any. Otherwise, I will close the session. Sir, please unmute yourself and ask me questions. Sir, just in 2 classes we are able to complete the third unit. So you can imagine third unit is a very small unit, simple unit, and it gives good marks. 16 marks up to we can easily get from this chapter. Sir, please concentrate on this unit first, then remaining. Sir, if you have any doubts, please raise your doubts. Okay, thank you. So I will also send the notes for this unit. Okay, please prepare well. Thank you.